Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to today's live video. Today we are going over the North Node for all signs of the zodiac, what you need to do. This is like how to embody your North Node. And like I said, we're going through all of the signs today, so you definitely want to stick around and find yours. Welcome on to everyone who is new. Welcome back to anyone who has been around here before. And for anyone who's, just joining, this is an astrology channel where I help you understand how to follow your purpose, understand your life lessons, work with your chart, make the most out of your chart without the toxic positivity. So, there's a way to understand astrology and also be real. And I'm always going to keep it real on this channel. I'm going to tell you the good side and the bad side, but with the idea of how can we work with this energy? How can we do something with it? How can we make the best of our lives and of our charts? So that's what we're here to do. And today we're talking about the North Node through the signs in terms of how to follow it. So if you're just jumping on, let me know, where's your North Node? What sign is it in? For anyone who wants to know, mine is in Taurus. So I do apologize to all the other 11 if I seem to know more about the North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio, because that one is my own and I do definitely know it well. And by know it well, I mean I know what not to do really well. Because I spent a lot of my life living in that South Node and not knowing it. And even after I got into astrology, it still took me some time to figure out exactly how to follow it and how I could honor that North Node without giving up the things I love. Okay, so I'm seeing some of the comments here. Angelica says, hi, Gemini North Node. Chrissy says, hello. Aries North Node, I'm having my nodal return. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Aries North Nodes are having their nodal return right now. Libra North Nodes are having their nodal opposition. And if you don't know what that means, I do have a video on that topic from quite a while back when I had very dark hair. But I do talk about the nodal opposition and the nodal return and the differences between those things. So, like I said, what we're doing today is we're getting into what it means, how to follow your North Node for all 12 signs of the zodiac. And we are going to start with Aries and we're going to go through to Pisces. So, for people with the Aries North Node, here is how you follow it. Number one, you need to have courage. And learning when and how to say no is a really, really, really big thing for that Aries North Node because, Aries North Node means you have Libra South Node, which means the pattern is to go along to get along and to assist other people and always want to help people. This is like Libra South Node is like past life as an assistant. So the idea of having to say no to anyone is very weird to a Libra South Node person because it's like in a past life, you were a yes person. And now in this life, you're learning how to become a no person. And you don't even have to be a no person, but learning that to give yourself permission to say no. Okay, so for Libra South Node, Aries North Node, it's about giving yourself permission to say no and kind of like claiming that first, claiming a little bit of time or space in your life as your own and letting the other people kind of work around that. Now, I don't mean like avoid your kids if you're a parent or something, but I do mean like not letting people walk all over you and just feel like you have to let them do it. If someone in your life is causing a lot of disruptions or distractions or causing you a lot of trouble because they're not respecting you, it's for this particular North Node Aries, it is a life lesson to learn how to deal with those situations because you can be crying when you have to say no to someone because it can be traumatic. Or you can just not want to do it because it's not comfortable. You're more comfortable just doing what the other person wants, and then, get resentful later and feel like they owe you. All those Libra problems. I love you, Libras, but Libra are the ones in readings that will say, I give and give and give and I never get back. And it's like, okay, but who's making you do that? Sometimes the other person wouldn't even care if you stopped giving that thing. So these are like Libra problems, right? So wherever your North Node is, that sign opposite is where you're going to have the not the imbalance as much as the tendency to do that thing in a way that doesn't support you. And the thing is that's going to feel the most comfortable. It's going to feel more comfortable to say yes. It's going to feel comfortable to figure out what everybody else wants and then define what you want after that, and make sure that what you want doesn't conflict with what everybody else wants. But for this North Node, the lesson and the learning curve here is to figure out how to, even in one little baby step, figure out how to do what you want to do. Claim your little area of life, or claim one thing for yourself that is yours. Claim your goals, claim what you want, and say no. It doesn't mean all the time, but like with the things that are important. So Aries North Node also is here to forge ahead and forge a path and embrace your leadership skills. So if you have that Aries North Node, this doesn't mean you have to be a manager or tell people what to do or go around and tell all your family to become spiritual, because that doesn't work. But it's like doing something where you're taking the lead and people want to follow you. When people want to follow you, I don't mean just on social media. When they're starting to ask you like, oh, how did you do this? How did you do that? I want to know. That's kind of a good sign for that Aries North Node, that you are having the courage and taking the lead to forge a path that hasn't been gone down before. So another thing with Libra South Node is sometimes you want to play it safe a little bit. Sometimes you want to, I'm not thinking like copy people. I'm thinking that sometimes you want to do the thing that you know isn't going to rock the boat. Now, this is going to depend on your other placements, remember, because the North Node is not a personal planet, which means it does not make up your personality. But sometimes that South Node in Libra, it's ruled by Venus. So what you want to do is just find the easier way socially. And sometimes those social graces and that charm can actually be used. But when you're going to use it, you want to make sure you're using it to accomplish the goal you set out to accomplish, or to get what you want, or to take the lead, or to forge that path ahead. So it really is right for Aries North Node to be taking charge, and then use your charm and your ability to, persuade, and your ability to, avoid conflict in that way to create that life you want to create. Or find that little piece of life where you get to do what you want to do and other people work around you. Okay. So feel free, Aries North Nodes, to let us know in the comments what has worked best for you, or what you've learned the most about following your North Node. We are going to move on now to Taurus. Now, let me drink some water. I am going to apologize for this, because I will go on and on about this one. For North Node in Taurus, the way to follow your North Node is to create stability. I cannot stop coughing right now. Okay. For North Node Taurus, the way to follow that North Node is to create stability, is to slow down. And this is the opposite of what you want to do. Your North Node, this is how you know it's right, is when you hear about your North Node and you think, oh, that sounds lovely and wonderful. That person's probably full of it. When you think about your North Node and you're like, oh, this is the hardest thing I've ever tried to do, then that's right. That's when it's right, because it's life. It's like Joseph Cambell says, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Our North Node is that cave, and it's different for all of us. So people with North Node Taurus have a harder time just letting things be easy. They have a harder time making money. It doesn't mean they can't make money, but North Node Taurus tends to get into entanglements with people and get in situations where it's like you don't feel like you can do it yourself. You feel like you need help to make money, or you need help to have stability, or you need help to live life. And you tend to get into these enmeshments with people which aren't good for you. That was past life stuff. So that's that past life. South Node, Scorpio, was like, honestly, guys, sometimes these are like psychic advisors or therapists or prostitutes, or like people who could not make their own money. They use their feminine energy, their spiritual power, their psychic or psychological gifts to help the other person who made all the money. And so it's like your survival depended on how much you helped other people, or how much you were connected to them or enmeshed in them, or used, had power over them. Because you had no way in those times to gain your own power. Like, you couldn't do what you did independently. So you had, like, you could be the psychic advisor to a king or something, but you couldn't just go be a psychic and hold up shop, So Taurus North Nodes have a hard time with things that are stable and secure because it feels uncomfortable. And so sometimes they'll want to gravitate toward risk or instability or entanglements with people. Like, the worst thing you could do as a South Node Scorpio, North Node Taurus would be go be like a live-in nanny, or like go get rid of all your possessions and live on the streets and do psychic readings. These are not good things. It doesn't mean you can't do these things. It doesn't mean you can't be a nanny. It doesn't mean you can't do psychic readings. It doesn't mean you can't do things. But you need to do your work in a way that is creates stability, that you have the independence with the money you make, and then after that, share with people. Don't share first, because what will happen is you'll sort of get into this pattern. And let me know, North Node Tauruses, if you relate to this. You'll get in this pattern where you're just sort of pouring more and more and more into the other person, but it doesn't come back to you. So thank you so much to everyone saying hello. And okay, so North Node Taurus, the way to follow this is learning to depend upon yourself financially. Realizing you are capable of doing this and stepping into your power to build wealth, build something. It doesn't have to be wealth. It can just be enough, but build something. Build something that you can depend on, whether that's your own skills, whether that's a job that you can really step up and take the lead in, or just be, just be depended upon, show up as a resource to other people. That North Node is resourceful, and make sure you are getting paid for it. So North Node Taurus should not be doing stuff like doing readings by donation, or even though, sometimes I tell people to do this when they first start out. But yeah, North Node Taurus is all about creating that financial independence and stability without being so intermeshed. Another thing that North Node Taurus can do to follow your North Node is slow down and watch the sunset. Slow down and watch the sunrise. Slow down and cook a meal and eat it and enjoy it. Slowing down is a huge thing for this North Node. And again, you may not be comfortable with it because that South Node Scorpio wants drama and excitement, and to like always be learning something, always be understanding people's psychological motives. Okay, that's another thing not to do with this one, even though you want to psychoanalyze everyone. But the way to honor this North Node and to grow is to learn the opposite energy, which is to forget about that stuff and go watch the grass grow. Look at the flowers. Look at the snow on the mountains. You know, enjoy nature, enjoy beauty, enjoy money, enjoy food, enjoy sex. Be here now is the motto for North Node Taurus, okay? So let's go on now. I could talk forever about this one. And also, I do have videos on all of these. There's a playlist that has every single one, and I go into detail from a long time ago. Now, let's go to Gemini North Nodes. Gemini North Nodes. So the thing about Gemini is, with the South Node in Sagittarius, one of the things to kind of watch out for with this North Node is trying to go big or go home. North Node Gemini has that past life South Node of being a priest or someone who like backpacked in the mountain and got lost and like listened to, you know, the meditation and had a direct line to spirituality. So the North Node in Gemini is all about learning not to do that anymore and learning to go more into facts than feelings or beliefs. And this can show up in different ways. So the metaphor I like to give for this, for North Node Gemini, South Node Sag, is that, so the Sagittarius energy wants freedom and possibility and options. Okay, so when you have your South Node here, the metaphor I like to give is, if someone asks you for directions, if you're doing the Sagittarius thing, you're going to give them 10 ways to get there. That person asking for directions does not need 10 ways to get there. They need one way. So this is the life lesson of Gemini North Node boiled down to a little metaphor, is just give the person the best way to get there. Don't tell them all the reasons why. Don't tell them all the other possible ways. Don't give them a billion options. Just teach the person the thing they need to know. If they're learning, they just learned ABC, teach them D, E, and F. This is what's hard for the North Node Gemini because, or people with, you know, a lot of Sagittarius stuff, is that it's hard to stay focused on the next indicated thing. So you can think about North Node Gemini, where in your life you have trouble focusing on the next indicated thing, whether it be something you're communicating or teaching, or whether it be just how you approach things, right? So like South Node Sagittarius being go big or go home. If you need to, it's like, I did this today, actually. This is an example from my life today as a person with a lot of Sagittarius, is that I've been wanting to go on this little hike, and there's a hike and there's a bridge I want to go see. And today it was going to be too hot to go on the hike, so I didn't do it at all. This is an exact thing as a South Node Sagittarius, North Node Gemini you should not do. And I'm telling on myself because I also shouldn't do it. But I did. I didn't do anything because I couldn't do the whole thing at once. So it's almost like you want to do a trip and you want to go to 17 countries, but it's like maybe you could go to 3 countries and that could be enough. North Node Gemini. So that's one thing. It's to stop going big, going home, do the thing in front of you. Now, when you're communicating or you're teaching, this is telling the person the thing that they need to hear, not a million other things. And then also another thing about North Node Gemini is to check the facts. So fact checking and getting into the specifics, being able to repeat. North Node Gemini, people will like it better when you repeat things that you heard someone else say. This is North Node Gemini and Midheaven Gemini. If you share facts that you learned from a book, if you share what book to read, if you share little pieces of information, people really love that from you much, much more than this is my intuition or this is what I feel about this. So let that be okay, that North Node, that's uncomfortable for you because you want it to mean something. And so South Node Sag will also hate small talk because you want every experience to have meaning. And part of that North Node Gemini is that it's probably going to be more about, not probably, it's going to be more about sharing facts and not having it mean everything, right? Learning the value of small talk. Now, if you're in that South Node, you're going to be like, no, that's stupid. Why would I do that? That's boring. But learning the value of like mundane, everyday facts and information. And, Gemini, I also think of like the weather report. You know how on the news in the morning, I don't watch the news anymore, but when you watch a weather report, it's the same fucking report over and over and over all morning. It's the same exact thing. It's not you don't add new meaning to it. The weather report person, what are they called? Not anchorman, but there's another name for it. What do? They just tell you it's going to rain. They don't tell you that when water freezes, it turns into ice and then it evaporates into the sky. And this is the cycle of water. And then blah, 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 blah. And this is why we have rain. Because when you meteorologists, thank you, Mel, for saving me in the comments. But you don't need to tell everyone why there is rain. They just want to know the weather report. So North Node Gemini has lessons in that. Now, South Node Sag also likes to explore and go out of their town. North Node Gemini, there is some focus on like communities that are more close-knit, keeping things more local in a way. But mostly I would say sticking to the facts is going to be the main energy here for Geminis. And especially if you're teaching, doesn't mean you can't be a teacher or something, but that it's about remembering where the person is at, letting it be about the other person, listening before you speak, listening to what they say they need, and then answering the question. Because that South Node Sag gets a little preachy and sermony and like, this is what's right, and these are the beliefs, and these are the things that are important, and this is what I feel is important. And it's like, sorry, North Node Geminis, no one cares how you feel. And that's what sucks, is that you want people to. You're going to want people to listen to your intuition, but that's not what this lifetime's for. This lifetime's to learn when not to do that, to learn when to just tell them the next thing. So the motto for North Node Gemini is the next indicated thing. Going on now to North Node Cancer. Okay, so North Node in Cancer means you don't have to. In order to follow this North Node, it's about being vulnerable. So North Node Cancer has South Node in Capricorn, and South Node Capricorn's like past lives where you worked and you learned the lessons of duty and sacrifice and had some really big, meaningful goal that you stepped up to, and you stepped up to responsibility. So you carry this feeling that being responsible is the most important thing into this lifetime. You carry this feeling of duty and obligation into this lifetime. The South Node is ruled by Capricorn, and Capricorn is all about life being hard, right? And it's Capricorn energy, Saturn energy almost needs life to be hard in order to be happy. South Node at Capricorn is going to want a mountain to climb, but that's not what you're here to learn in this life. You already mastered that. You already learned how to sacrifice. You already spent a whole lifetime or lifetimes giving up your feelings, giving up the things that you cared about for some worthy goal. And that is a beautiful energy, but you're done with that now. So North Node Cancer, it's about feelings, and all y'all are not going to want to do it. North Node Cancer is going to be about being vulnerable, being able to express your emotions, being able to talk about how you feel or care about how other people feel and honor that and give that space in your life. Being able to create a sense of belonging, because that North Node in Cancer, when I think of the archetype of Cancer, I think of like a homestead or like a ranch where like the mom on the ranch who like isn't necessarily out in the field as much as they are making sure everyone feels okay, because you need to keep people together. So this is the archetype to learn with this placement, is how to create or maintain a sense of belonging, how to nurture people, how to nurture each individual person, each individual plant, each individual animal, learning how to create a space where you feel like you belong and let that be okay, that matters, that your feelings matter. Learning how to acknowledge people's feelings. And you can acknowledge people's feelings in the pursuit of a goal, but the things that are not right for North Node Cancer would be going after work for work's sake. So it's about feeling at home in your own skin with the North Node Cancer. And you may have to work in life to be able to feel like you even need to do that, because it's going to seem stupid in the beginning, you know? Whatever your South Node is, you want to do that thing. So you're going to go after working harder. You're going to go after being more responsible, climbing another mountain. But the thing about the South Node energy is it doesn't yield results in this life like it did in a past life. So this is why it turns into this, sometimes a vicious cycle, because we can pour all of our energy into it, and we don't really feel that growth from it. But if you are just a little bit vulnerable, or you talk about how you feel, or you let someone else talk about how they feel, or you show that you care, or you be around people who care, even if it's not comfortable, that's the energy to embody. So honoring and validating feelings and nurturing are the things that North Node Cancer is here to do. All right, so let's go on to the next one, which is going to be the North Node in Leo. So the way to honor your North Node in Leo is by engaging with life. Now, for North Node Leos, you would have had a past life where you were like a mad scientist who like locked yourself in a lab and would forget to eat and would just give up everything to help society make the world a better place. But that is not the energy for you in this lifetime. For North Node Leo, the energy for you in this lifetime is to engage with life. Now, this one I think has a lot of misconceptions, because a lot of people, when they think of Leo, they think about attention. And I know a lot of South Node Aquarius who are like, I'm not going to go be famous, you know? So just know that being famous is sometimes something people with a lot of Leo end up doing, because there is that need to sort of like entertain and engage with people on such a high level, on such a big level. But Leo doesn't equal fame, and it isn't always attention seeking either. So when your North Node is in Leo, you don't have to go be famous or become an actor and like have everyone's eyes on you to honor your North Node. But what you do need to do if you have your North Node in Leo is step out of the shadows, because you might have a tendency to go back to like to somehow take yourself out of the game. Okay, so I think of someone who maybe was doing a sport and had an injury and they become a coach for that sport. That might not be the best example, because that sounds positive. So let's think of something else. Okay, like you always wanted to be a pilot, let's say, but you don't have the like, I don't know, the eyesight or whatever. And then I don't know if that's a thing. And then you end up like just watching movies where everyone's a pilot for the rest of your life. It's like you're not supposed to be the observer in this life. You're supposed to be the one doing the thing. So if there is a thing and you're a North Node Leo and you're not able to do it, you need to do something else that you can engage in. Okay, you're supposed to engage in life and jump in, because that's what Leo does. People say Leo is like, vain and like, I don't know, but Leo can also be very wonderful, and they can be very proud of themselves, and they often will live life to the fullest. So that North Node in Leo is you living life to the fullest instead of cutting yourself off from the enjoyment of life or the engagement of life to observe something, to detach, to, it's like watching the game at home versus going to the game. North Node and Leo, go watch the game, or, go watch the show or go to the concert, or, enjoy your life. And if you think of a funny joke, tell the funny joke. Now, keep in mind that for some people with this North Node, if you're really sucked into that South Node, telling the funny joke sounds really scary and really hard because it's not like comfortable. And so you don't have to push yourself too far. That's another thing about following your North Node, is if you only do baby steps, it makes a world of difference. So don't be too overwhelmed by this. But that North Node in Leo, number 1, engage with life. Number 2, be proud of yourself. And number 3, don't hide in the shadows. You're here to come out and play. So get out and play. That's North Node Leo. All right, going on now to North Node Virgo, South Node Pisces. If you are a North Node in Virgo, oh, and one more thing about that Leo North Node. You don't always have to be like, this is true for North Node Leo, also Midheaven in Leo. You don't have to be the center of attention to honor the North Node, right? You may be putting your work out there. Sometimes the North Node in Leo, it's about putting your creative work out into the world. You don't have to always be out there, especially if your North Node is in like the 12th house or the 4th house or even the 8th house. So keep that in mind as well. All right, North Node Virgo is here to take control. And because you have that South Node in Pisces, this will be the last thing you want to do. Because the South Node in Pisces wants to go with the flow and trust the universe, and doesn't really... Okay, so South Node in Pisces, you'll be the ones who say, when one door closes, one more opens, when really you didn't even try. Or, it's like North Node, maybe you did try, but North Node Virgo needs to take control. So this looks like setting a goal, writing down the steps it takes to reach the goal, and then going after the goal. This does not look like sitting around on a lifeboat waiting for someone to come save you. And this is what South Node in Pisces exactly will tend to want to do, is to feel like, well, wherever the wind blows me is where I'm supposed to be. No. That was past life stuff. So South Node Pisces, in past lives, you were the drug addicts, the mystics, the schizophrenics. I'm talking about past life, not this life. I am not diagnosing anything. In this life, the energy of letting it all go and letting someone else have control feels like home, because that's what's comfortable. So what you need to do, though, is what is uncomfortable, which is take control. And there's a fear of sometimes not being able to handle it, or a fear that like you don't have permission, right? With Pisces Virgo stuff, sometimes there's a feeling of waiting for permission, or there's a feeling of like wanting the universe to anoint you, like wanting someone to come along and certify you in something, when really you just certify yourself. And what I mean by that, I don't mean you like go do brain surgery on people without a license. I mean, for all the other things that don't actually take certification, don't wait for the universe to tell you what to do, because that is not the path for that South Node Pisces. It's learning to have control, learning to embrace control, learning to take things into your own hands. So this looks like deciding on your goal and taking steps toward it, being methodical, being of service, getting really good at something, creating routine, order, creating a plan, having a schedule. And so I would say the 3 things if I had to boil it down, would be control, control and service, like being of service, seeing how you contribute, seeing how you're useful, doing things where you feel useful. This is not, South Node Pisces, this is not a lifetime to like sit on the couch and watch Judge Judy. Of course, I don't think that's for anyone. But South Node Pisces, it'll feel like the right thing to do. It'll feel like the right thing to do, to just like get high or do drugs or like go to some meditation all the time and always get lost in things. Now, it doesn't mean you can't check out sometimes, but you're not here to get lost in some whirlpool and not know where you're going. That North Node Virgo is about learning to have control and to take charge and to take initiative, to make a decision and go for it, to orient yourself toward not just goals, but like getting good at something in the pursuit of a goal. And hold on. Okay. So back to, what was I saying? Getting good at something for that North Node Virgo and being able to take the steps toward it, being methodical, being of service, and helping others. You may find with South Node Pisces that there's a need to clarify your direction, right? Because it's really easy for you to want, almost to want to be in chaos, or to want to have a lack of clarity because, again, it's comfortable. So I would say creating clarity is also a way to honor that North Node in Virgo. Going on now to the next one, which is our North Node in Libra. North Node in Libra means you have South Node in Aries, and the biggest thing you are here to learn is how to work with people. Not just work with people, but how to let people in and not do everything yourself. That South Node in Aries is going to be that past life as a warrior, that past life as somebody who really had to fight on the battlefield, had to defend yourself, had to have boundaries, and had to... You think of the warrior, think of if you were actually in a war and you actually had a knife and sword and everything, you would have to tune out everything else and only think about your survival. So that South Node Aries has this sort of instinct to think about their own survival first and foremost and get their needs met first. And then after that, if they can work with other people, it's fine. So North Node in Libra, South Node in Aries is here to learn that the more they give, the more they get. That is your motto for North Node in Libra. The more you give, the more you get. This is not for everyone. This is not for every North Node. This is really not for North Node in Taurus. This is really not for the North Node in Aries. But for North Node in Libra, North Node in Libra, the more you give, the more you get, because you're going to have a tendency to be defensive. You're going to have a tendency to want to self-protect, and you're going to have that tendency for independence that worked really well in a past life because you needed it. So in this life, that North Node in Libra, it's about letting people go first when you can. Letting people, just sharing, instead of thinking like, okay, I need to do this at this time and then have everyone else work around you. Find ways where you can work around the other person. Find ways where you can help them meet their goal, and as a result, it benefits you. It's like when it's your North Node, because when you're doing it, even though it's hard, you're going to feel happier, and you're going to be like the people around you are going to benefit you. So giving to others first, sometimes for North Node Libra, is a good approach, because your tendency usually is going to be, I need to get for myself. It's like almost like a survival remnants of past lives. Now, partnership is one focus of that North Node Libra, although I think that makes it sound too general, right? Because it's like, don't we all have partnerships sometimes? But it's about learning how to cooperate. So I would say cooperation in relationships. And when you're in relationships, South Node in Aries can actually set too many boundaries with people. They can be too walled off, they can be too independent, and they can be a little bit too much on the side of, this is my schedule, you need to work around it, and sometimes not yielding enough. Not yielding enough. So learning when to yield to others. And for all of these North Nodes, you guys want to test and measure this in your life. Test it and see. Okay, that is how you know you're following your North Node correctly, is that when you do these things, your life gets better, you are happier, and things work out better. All right, so don't just take my word for it. See how it goes and learn that way. Try it. Try it at work. Try it with your friends. Try it with your family. See what works and what doesn't. Okay, so giving in order to get, networking. Networking is good for that North Node Libra. This will be uncomfortable. You will not even want to take from people because then you owe them, right? This is like that South Node Aries, like, I have to do it myself. I can't let them help me because then people will think they did it. You know, it's some of this like defensiveness of like, you're not allowed to help me because I don't want anyone to think I need help, or I'm independent, damn it, da, 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 you know, that kind of thing. So networking, learning when to accept help. It doesn't mean you always have to have people help you, but learning when to accept help, learning when to listen to advice, learning when to not do everything yourself is a huge lesson for this North Node. So, and also one of the things I wrote on my notes is learning when to put down the sword. You know, because that sword is sharp. And it can be yielded at other people when you have this South Node because you just don't feel safe not to have that sword. So it is hard, Mel. Yeah, Mel is laughing because I said it's opposite of what you want. It is uncomfortable. It's an energy you have not developed. So it's about developing the ability to compromise, developing the ability to learn when it's okay to just people please a little bit. Okay, not all the time, but just learning when to let someone else have what they want first and then get what you want later, and identifying times where it might feel like it's an emergency, but it's not. Like, it's not an emergency if you have to wait 10 minutes to use the microwave because you have roommates. But with this South Node, it might feel like that with things like this. Okay? So give it. And that doesn't always mean that every time you give, you're going to receive, or that you can give endlessly, or that you have to give in an unhealthy way. But when it comes to your relationships, be willing to give a little and see what works. Okay, now on to North Node in Scorpio. Now, I love this one because it's the opposite mine, and it's fun to talk about the opposite energy. Yeah. So the thing is that if you listen to the North Node opposite yours, you're going to be like, that's so easy because it's going to feel easy to you to do those things, but it won't work for you. And that's the thing to remember. So going on now to North Node Scorpio, how to follow this North Node is to take risks. With that South Node in Taurus, there were past lives where, you know, stability was your thing. And you rocked it, and you maybe owned property, or maybe you were a resource to other people, or you had a lot of money, or you had a great job or something. So that means in this life, you're going to cling to security. You're going to feel more comfortable when you're secure, but it's not going to help you grow. So you can get really stagnant with South Node Taurus in jobs you hate, in relationships with people you don't even like, because it's comfortable or because they pay the bills, in other situations that you don't even want to be in because you just feel like it's safer to stay. And that North Node Scorpio is all about learning to take risks. It is all about transformation, and transformation means change. So creating situations where you change. This is the North Node. The North Node in Scorpio is the one that I would say, if you've ever seen the programs that are like, make 10K in your first month, this is the only North Node that I think might be able to pull this shit off, because it's right for them to jump into situations like this. It is right for North Node Scorpio to kind of jump across the bridge and burn it behind them, and then they will thrive in this. Now, I am not saying that you should go mortgage your house for a coaching program, but I am saying that no, Mimi, just, and for everyone, I don't read the signs and houses as the same when it comes to the North Node. I think they are different. I think I have a video North Node through the houses you can watch somewhere on the channel. You'd have to search for it. But back to, and we can do some videos on the houses too, some more current ones. Back to North Node in Scorpio. It's right for you to dive deep into psychology. It is right for you to, again, jump across the bridge, burn it behind you, and put yourself into that situation, those situations where there's no plan B and you've got to thrive. I wouldn't, and I'm not saying go do things that are super crazy. For a South Node Taurus, all you have to do is quit your job to have this feeling. Even just changing your job is going to feel like this. Changing your marriage if you've been married for a long time. And I'm not saying don't go get divorced, everybody. Gosh, this one is when you, like, okay, for example, if you wanted to get rid of all your things and travel the world, for this North Node, that is right for you, because it's going to enliven you. If you wanted to do like Tony Robbins or something like that, this North Node would be more likely to benefit from something like that. Although I have my little issues with those kind of things. But the North Node in Scorpio is the most likely to get a payoff for taking a risk. And you can start with baby steps on it. Something that feels like a risk. It doesn't mean every risk is going to work out, but doing something like getting rid of all your things, doing something like merging with other people as well as that North Node in Scorpio, like doing things where you are going in on something with someone, or you're sharing, or you're like joining forces with someone, or where you are building other people up. North Node in Scorpio, building other people up or helping them in a psychological way. It's like having these deep connections with people is right for you. It would make sense for North Node Scorpio to do work where you're like really involved with other people's emotions, or really involved in like in there, like really getting in there, like being a surgeon, or being a psychic, or being a coach, or being a psychologist, or something else where you're really getting in with someone, getting in there and like moving that energy around. Again, it's also right for you to like get rid of all your stuff and travel the world and embrace a risk at some point in life. What else? What else can North Node Scorpio do? Really, when it comes to other people, North Node Scorpio can definitely benefit from making deep bonds with people. Everyone can benefit from deep bonds, but if you're a South Node Taurus, you are used to being financially independent from past lives. You are used to having security and stability and having everything be the same. And you're going to feel more comfortable with that. So getting out of the comfort zone in any way is going to benefit that North Node Scorpio. Okay, So that's what I have for that one. Now let's go on to North Node Sagittarius. So for North Node Sagittarius, to follow that North Node, it's about trusting your intuition. And this will be what you don't want to do, because when you are a South Node Gemini, you want to tell people the facts. And if you want to say something, you will have this tendency to just want to go find the book that says it and like give someone the book, or defer to someone else's knowledge. That is South Node Gemini, where you are quoting someone or you're recommending somebody else's book. North Node Sag is when you feel something in a conversation, to say it, to like say what your intuition is telling you to say. I don't mean give people advice they're not asking for. I mean, be willing to trust yourself in the moment to go with what you feel, because that North Node Sagittarius is about like trusting your own like pipeline to spirit. In past lives, South Node Gemini was a teacher, was a salesperson, where you had to get into someone's head, understand where they were at psychologically, and tell them what they needed so they would listen to you and you could teach them something, or so they would buy your stuff. But in this life, you're not doing that. So North Node Sag has a harder time with this, because they want to know where the person is at and give them just what they need next. But that's not what's right for that energy isn't going to support your soul's growth. What will support your soul's growth is telling people what you feel, talking about your beliefs, going on a quest, going to travel to another country, or sit on a mountaintop and meditate and see what you get back, and trust what you intuitively feel. So if you are South Node Gemini, you're like trying to find the next little piece of information, or you're trying to find the facts, you probably can get the answers a little bit more directly. And even meditation is really good for this North Node, because it's right for you to kind of come up with your own answers and explore your own truth. When you have that North Node in Sagittarius. Another thing with South Node Gemini and North Node Sagittarius is that sometimes, let me think, hold on. Yeah, I mean, really, it's kind of like say what you're feeling, because what you're feeling is usually right. And there's a process of learning, not just how to say what you're feeling, but to be able to like say, I've talked to a lot of South Node Geminis who have a hard time with this, because it's like they're afraid, like if they have a YouTube channel or something, it's like they're afraid that they're going to say what they're feeling and someone's going to come after them and it's going to be wrong. So here's what I want you to do, North Node Sag. I want you to practice saying, this is just what I feel, da 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 da. Or, this isn't proven, but blah, 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 blah. Because what you can do is give yourself that permission to have this disclaimer and just say, this is just what I feel. And then it becomes safe to say it, because you're not stating it as fact. You're stating it as what it is, which is a feeling. Okay. Going on now, let's go on now to North Node Capricorn, South Node Cancer. For North Node Capricorn, the way to follow this North Node is to step up to responsibility and organize people toward a goal. The South Node Cancer does not want to do this. The South Node Cancer wants to just care about how everyone feels. So for North Node Capricorn, it's about learning when not to do that, right? Like imagine you're the CEO of a company and one of your employees comes up and is like, I'm mad at this guy because he said this. And it's like, you have to tell them to stop doing that, right? Like, I guess it depends on what kind of company you want to have, but some woke person is going to come after me now. But basically, North Node Capricorn is not here to spend all this time and energy making people feel okay. That's your South Node. And it's like you had that past life where you had to do that. That was part of what you had to do to survive. So because of that, that's what you're comfortable in. You are comfortable in taking care of those feelings and honoring your own emotions. But the North Node Capricorn it doesn't always mean you have to be like CEO, but being able to figure out in your life what is worth making a sacrifice for, whether it is in a company, whether it is with your diet, whether it is in some other way where you can deny some of your personal comfort for a worthy cause. That's a good thing for the North Node Capricorn to do, because, you're supposed to become more like the sea goat. And what does the goat do? It gets to the top of the mountain. So North Node and Capricorn is learning the value of making it up the top of the mountain, the value of accomplishment, the value of saying, oh no, it is worth waking up early to do this thing. It's worth waking up early to go for a run, because I love the way I feel when I deny that comfort of staying in bed. So things like this, that it's like denying your personal comfort, denying your excessive feelings if you have them. So, it's about not stopping the production of whatever your goal is just because someone feels a certain way. It's about using that South Node Cancer ability to nurture and support others in the achievement of some kind of a goal, or support them in becoming their best selves. South Node Cancer can do a very, very good job of using that gift, that nurturing gift, but it's like it has to be for something bigger than yourself, or getting the other person like bigger than them. So this is kind of what I think when I think about North Node Capricorn. I think of the great things. Think of the great things in history that people have left behind. Think of the Mayas, and I think of the pyramids, but people say they're built by slaves, and that's a bad example. Think of the things that are built today because somebody felt it was a worthy cause that you get to use or be a part of. Think about people who died for the thing that you get to eat or enjoy or do or be. That's that Capricorn energy. Now, I'm not saying you have to go die. Don't go die, North Node Capricorns. I'm saying it's really tapping into that. Like, what would you die for? And are you willing to sacrifice a little bit for that thing? Okay? What in your life or in the world matters so much to you? And if you're like nothing, then you need to find that thing. But remember that the North Node, you don't always relate to that. So the North Node is about being goal-oriented, but you're going to relate more to that South Node of Cancer of wanting to take care of everyone and nurture each individual thing or each individual person, or keep everyone together and make everyone feel like they belong. And again, you can use that gift, that ability, make everyone feel like they belong in the company that you work for, or, to achieve some goal that is worthy. So the worthy goal is going to be the keyword there for North Node Capricorn. So let's go on now to North Node in Aquarius. For North Node in Aquarius, the keywords I have here are detach and observe. So the South Node in Aquarius is about that the king. So what does the king do or the queen do? Gives the people what they want. And the North Node in Aquarius is here to learn how to stop doing that because it worked in a past life. And think of the king. The reason I use the king here is because the king has to be popular or they get poisoned or something. You know what I mean? Like, the king has to be popular or the people revolt. So the king has to sort of give the people what they want. It's different now today, right? With our politics, it's different. The king has to give the people what they want. The celebrity, okay, is another archetype of South Node Leo. The celebrity has to be popular or they cannot be a celebrity. You cannot be an unpopular celebrity, even if you're popular for being anti-establishment, even if you're popular for being different. You still have to have a certain amount of popularity to be a celebrity, because like celebrities, they have all these brand deals and they have to be widely accepted. Otherwise, like think of an actor, a niche actor who only a few people like, they're not going to pull as much money. But the actors who everybody loves, why does everyone love them? Well, maybe because they're not very controversial and they don't speak about their opinions, and they're willing to say the thing you need to say to get people to like you. Now, I'm not saying we should all, even as I'm talking about this, I'm like, right now, Pluto's in Aquarius and it's kind of destroying celebrity culture as we speak. But it is still right for the North Node in Aquarius to stop doing this, to stop giving people what they want and start focusing on what is for the good of the whole. Now, that can be in your own little family. It doesn't have to be on a huge level, or your own life, your own friends, whatever. But that being able to focus more on detaching and observing, and instead of giving everyone what they want or what will make you most popular or what will make you most liked, to do the thing that is maybe going to make you less popular, that is like better for you or better for the whole unit. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be hated, but that when you are trying to make the world a better place in your own way, that's honoring that North Node in Aquarius. When you are taking a more observational standpoint, that's that North Node in Aquarius. It does not mean you cannot go out and enjoy life. It does not mean you can't be seen. As a matter of fact, with the South Node in Leo, you can use your past life gift of being the center of attention, but put the attention on other people. Okay, so one of the things you can do to honor your North Node in Aquarius is to appreciate every single person in their role, whether it's big or small, and see them beyond the role. See them beyond their title, like, waitress or whatever. See them as a human being and honor them as a human being, instead of seeing people as, this is you're at this level, you're at this level. That's a South Node Leo thing, being the king, of being like, I'm at the highest level, these are my servants, these are my subjects. There's kind of this importance in that past life on what your role is and what level you are, where you're at in the hierarchy, so to speak. So part of North Node Aquarius is either stepping outside of it altogether and being like, forget the establishment, or creating societies or structures, or living in a way that kind of honors everyone regardless of what level they are. So let me see if I have more on this. Yeah, it's really about giving society, or giving the group, whatever the group is in your life, giving them what they need, not what they want. And, that's that South Node Leo. Give the people what they want. Just make them happy. Give them entertain them. Give them a performance. Some people with South Node Leo will relate to this feeling like you have to kind of make people happy a little bit. Other people don't relate to it at all. So that's okay if you don't. But it's about less focus on like entertaining or being popular, and more focusing on what makes the world better, and really engaging yourself in things that will kind of make your life better, or make the lives of people around you better. All right, my North Node Aquarius says, let me know how that lands, how that resonates. We are going to go on to North Node in Pisces. And if you have not seen my North Node videos, you should definitely watch that. There is actually a link in the description to that playlist, so you can go watch yours after this. And so North Node in Pisces is all about going with the flow and trusting the universe. Now, for anyone listening who's like, that's too easy, not for North Node Pisces, it isn't, because in past lives, you were like the surgeon in the military. This is what a lot of these archetypes are from Jan Spiller's book, but it's like past life energy of being the one who had to do everything right because people's lives depended upon it. So with this South Node in, South Node in Virgo, that means you're supposed to let go of that. Being the North Node Pisces, you're supposed to let go of that feeling like you have to be in control or everything's going to fall apart. And learning how to go with the flow and trust the universe, meditate, and have creativity, which these things will not always come easily. And just because you have South Node in Virgo doesn't mean you're a psycho control freak. It could be that you feel more comfortable when you have a plan. It could be that you will feel like, oh, am I doing this right or am I doing this wrong? I need to figure it out. I need to paint it the exact right way. Where North Node in Pisces is about feeling the brush paint on the canvas and just feeling it and getting into the feeling of it. Right? It's like the sand mandalas where you just get into the energy of making the thing and then you wash it all away. Now that for a South Node Virgo, North Node Pisces, that's not going to sound fun. So what you can do is have baby steps on this. Meditate. Draw something that doesn't have lines, because like even if you draw and you're like, okay, this is the exact way to draw this. No, that's still that South Node Virgo. It's about things you can get lost in. So North Node Pisces, to follow this North Node, is get lost in something. Get lost in watching a movie. Get lost in some kind of creative work. Get lost in a conversation. Let yourself be like the boat on the water that gets blown away by the wind with this North Node. And things that can sort of facilitate this for North Node Pisces are any kind of art, again, that isn't too structured, where you're not being all like rigid about it. It has to be done this way. Art that you can just like painting something and painting over it, or mixing the colors, doing things that are kind of outside of the lines. And also altered states of consciousness are ways to honor North Node and Pisces. So doing Reiki, doing meditation, doing energy work, doing anything where altered states would also be like hypnotherapy, getting into that hypnotic state. And even you can actually be in a hypnotic state when you're like driving or when you're like watching a movie, or things where you're still here, you're just kind of zoned out a little bit. That's a hypnotic state. That's an altered state. So that's also things like the Akashic records. It's things like auras and energy work, all that cool spiritual stuff. But really thinking about how the North Node Pisces can live their life, when you are trusting the universe and going with the flow, it's going to work out a lot better. You're going to have a tendency to want to take back control, or to at least have a plan. It doesn't mean you can't plan things. It doesn't mean you can't be like, oh, this is what I want to do with my life, or take a course, or, live life. But even when you're in the class that you signed up for, it's like, can you go with the flow with what the teacher's doing? Or do you feel like you need to stop everyone and make them explain something to you so you know what's going on? Not having to know everything that's going on at every single moment. Just like letting it go, just going with it, is part of that North Node. And again, it's like the thing that you can sort of use to guide you on this is, it's like the things you can get lost in. That's what this North Node in Pisces is. It's about the things that you can get lost in. So that is what I have for these. And feel free, everyone, to comment questions about the North Node, because we are about to do some content on the nodes. I'm going to be doing more content on the nodes. I am so excited about it. And if you guys have questions, those questions will be considered when I create this next batch of content I'm doing. If you have not seen my videos on the North Node through the signs, watch those. There's a video on the North Node through the houses. There's a video on the North Node sign versus house. And what you can do for this is you can actually go to the channel and hit the search bar and just put in North Node, and there's a bunch of other stuff too. So feel free to just go binge watch that anytime you want to. And I do want to say thank you to everyone who has been supporting this channel for as long as you have. I know I see a lot of familiar faces, and you know, one of our recent videos have done really well. So just thanks everyone, because it wouldn't be doing well if it wasn't for you guys watching to begin with. So let me see if there's some questions here in the chat to answer. I'm going back up to the top here, so let me see what we have. Hello to everyone, first of all. Wild Turkey, Jeannie, Chrissy, Angelica, Intuitive Holistic Esthetician, All for Inspiration, Rita, Chris, hello. If you're still awake. Let's see. Oh, you guys are talking about my sign. So it looks like Wild Turkey's asking what my sign is, and you say I'm a Leo or Taurus. Nope. Actually, nope. I am Sag Sun, Virgo Rising, and Pisces Moon. All right, let's see what else. Ephra, hello. Mel, I don't know if I said hello to you yet. Okay, Chrissy asked, what about learning to set boundaries for Virgo North Node? Maybe. It's more about, for Virgo North Node, it's more about, it could be because that South Node in Pisces is very yielding and very used to just going with the flow. And so being able to interrupt the flow and be like, actually I have to be somewhere right now. You know, those kind of things, probably helpful. Yeah. Okay, Francisca is asking, is the rising sign the North Node? No, the rising sign is the ascendant. So this is, the way I describe the rising sign is, the moment you were born, you could walk outside and you could look at that horizon where the sun rises. The sign behind that, that's your rising sign. So it's like how you meet the world. Your rising sign you will relate to a lot more than your North Node, because your North Node is a point to work toward. All right, let's see what else. Oh yeah, Starseed says, Starseed weed puller. I'm a life coach. We aren't that expensive. Some are. Okay, some are. And I have seen some that are like insane expensive. But I'm not against all coaches. I've just had a lot of bad experiences. What else here? One second, guys. Okay, I'll take this one. I have North Node in the 10th house, conjunct the Sun in Sagittarius. Yeah, actually, yep. I normally don't say that to people, but North Node, it's the Sun conjunct that makes me say yes to that. Maybe we'll do another video on North Node conjunctions. Or South Node conjunctions. Chrissy, yes, I do have a video on nodal return and opposition. It's when I had dark hair. But I think if you type in nodal return, it's going to pop up on the channel. You guys want more node videos? In harmony. Oh, Christina, yeah, you already know it all, but you can watch again for Taurus. Yeah, Gemini, I think Gemini and Sag are a little harder to understand because whereas most of the other signs to me feel like polar opposites, Gemini and Sag don't. They're both about communication. It's just how we're communicating to me. So this is why I think it can be kind of hard to understand. Oh, Chrissy, I have the same big 3 as your mom. That's cool. I don't know what this means. Surprise. You spoiled brat era. You're just going to spoil yourself for your nodal reversal. Oh, Sarah is like me, Sag Sun Moon Virgo rising. Oh, your boyfriend's Sag Sun Pisces Moon. That's cool. That's cool when you have similarities like that. Okay, so this is PH asking, so what would you say is the difference between North Node and Gemini, North Node in the 3rd house? In my opinion, these are a little different, and here's how I would answer that is the planet, in this case, it's a point. The planet is what, the sign is how, and the house is where. The planet is what, the sign is how, and the house is where. The North Node is our lessons to learn. People call it our purpose, but it's really not our job. It's like our lessons to learn, and it's how we can embody our highest self. So our lessons to learn are through that sign, right? So you want to be like that sign in the area of life that the house is in. So North Node in, let's say it's North Node Taurus in the 3rd. Well, North Node Taurus is about stability in communication, stability in your sibling relationships, etc. Let's see what else. I mean, I would have to talk for a long time to kind of really break it down, but don't get all freaked out if like your North Node and sign and house are opposite. And I think I may have a video on that somewhere. Okay, MP, I'm not going to get too into the personal, it's a little too much like a personal reading, but it can also be leadership. That Sun in the 10th with the North Node. So if you're going to be something, it might go better if you're the leader of the thing, or you're the manager, you're the center of attention. Okay, Chrissy's asking, what if your North Node is a critical degree? I don't really emphasize critical or anaretic degree. Is it like 29, I'm guessing? You can have, there's a lot of degrees that are like good or bad. I don't really do a whole lot of that with a North Node, but what you can do if you want more and you want to just see if it makes sense is you can look at the Sabian symbols for your North Node, but you want to do the degree up. So if it's a 12, you want to do 13. If it's 10, you want to do 11, because in the sign of the zodiac, 0 is the first degree. 0 is the first degree. So if it's at 0, you look at 1, and that's why. But I don't use degrees a whole lot just because it's not my thing. Okay, so surprise says, okay. Spoiled brat as in Aries. Got it. Okay, you guys are all talking about your North Node houses now. Squiglove is in the 12th. Mel Lee is in the 12th. Sometimes it just means you're going to do the thing behind the scenes. So you can simplify it that way. Whatever your North Node sign is, it's all going to be done in a spiritual way or behind the scenes or in a way people don't see, and it's okay. Sometimes the North Node in the 12th is like you just meditate and you're honoring that North Node, taking time out from that 6th house of like being busy and doing chores and stuff. Okay, so maybe a video on the North Node houses is in order. It seems like a lot of you guys want to know about this. And then, yeah, conjunct different planets. For those of you who have conjunctions, I also have my South Node conjunct Pluto and Mars. So it's a lot. Conjunctions to the nodes are, the South Node are like, sometimes that planet has a hard time showing up in your life. It turns invisible or gets buried or, it's harder to access, easier to talk yourself out of doing that thing. So if it's like the moon, you're going to talk yourself out of sleeping. You'll talk yourself out of eating healthy or taking care of your body or something. If it's on the North Node, it tends to be that thing shows up more, right? So the North Node, this is from Vedic astrology, which I do combine both modern and Vedic, which is kind of like a different, most astrologers don't do that. But the North Node with planets usually means that planet gets a bigger role in your life. And if it's very close, sometimes that's a thing that you are just obsessed with and you tend to get good at or you tend to really enjoy. Where with the South Node, it's like you'll avoid the planet. It won't be as visible in your life. It won't be seen because the North and South Node are sort of like shadow grabbers. The planets are grabbers. North and South Node are like shadow grabbers. So it's like the thing you don't know is going to get you. You don't see it, kind of. So like, it's like people don't see how much you are like that planet, but you really are. It's just, it's not obvious. So like, I have Mars conjunct the South Node and people just think I'm going to be nice all the time. And like, if I get mad, it's like they don't understand why I got mad for something that any reasonable person would get mad about. Like, people don't see the part of me that's going to say no. And then when it does happen, they're like, what? So that's kind of how that shows up, for example. And there's other stuff too. Okay, so then we have, Christy's saying conjunct Chiron. Yeah, conjunct Chiron, you can kind of apply what I just said about the planets. Someone asked me how I feel about Pluto. I do have videos on Pluto through the houses. I have feelings about Pluto. I think Pluto is very important. And it really has strong effects, definitely. All right, I think that is good for now. So, like I said, even if you're just watching this video after the fact, feel free to comment what you would like to know or see about that North Node, South Node. We're going to do more videos on this. I know it's like they're so important and sometimes it's hard to understand because you'll have like your North Node in one sign and it's like in a different house and it's like there's not enough information about what this stuff means. So there's that. You can also book a private reading with me using the link below. There is a link in the description. I do private readings. We could do a whole hour on your North Node, you guys, and we can look at whether there's a skip step. We can look at the ruler of the North Node and the ruler of the South Node. So if you're at a level where you know what this means in astrology, that's what I would recommend. If you're like, I don't know how to follow my North Node, try to connect to the planet that rules it. Okay, so if you're North Node Aries, connect with Mars. You can research Mars. Okay, you can research what Mars means, what it signifies, how to be more like it, da da da. If it's North Node Taurus, connect with Venus. If it's North Node Gemini, Mercury. If it's North Node Cancer, the Moon. Leo, the Sun. Virgo, Mercury. Libra, Venus. Scorpio, Mars. Sagittarius, Jupiter. Capricorn or Aquarius is going to be Saturn, or Pisces is going to be Jupiter. So those are the traditional rulers of the signs. So that's another thing you can do kind of on your own for fun, and to sort of support yourself along your own journey of wholeness through astrology, is to really learn about the planet that rules your North Node, because it can kind of guide you, if that makes sense. It can kind of help you connect with that energy. You can learn, you can read up all about the planets. There's tons of information. You can even, pray to them, and you can learn about their hours of the day. There's so much you can learn. So that is how you can do that. Yeah, that is what I have for today. So thank you all for joining me. Check out all my other content. There's a ton of it out there. And comment what you want to know about the North Node. And if you'd like, you can always book a private reading. And I will see you beautiful souls in the next video. Bye guys.